I'm a bit of an efficiency expert because I ain't got time to waste, especially at my age. Hi, I'm Miltonchang of Bonsaiheirloom, and I chose to work on this California Juniper. I bought probably 20 years ago from someone. It was very, very sparse, only a little bit of growth up on top, and I really didn't think that it was going to be a very good tree, so I let it grow. After I got it, I put it into my regular soil mix, which at that time was just really garden soil plus peat moss plus perlite. I guess that's pretty much what I do now, but except now I use my pescadero soil, which is sandy loam. And then the tree grew, and a lot, and I pull down, let these branches get long to create a sense that there's more growth below. And this is a very old tree. Again, if you look at the rings, they're about a millimeter or so spacing, which means, so this is probably at least a 700-year-old tree dug from the California Mojave Desert, probably 35, 40 years ago, with a group of friends, Harry Horau's friends, dug them up from a private property. And it's kind of top heavy with very little roots, so I used the wire to anchor it down to this pot. The next time when I take it out, I will change it into a more of an oval pot to rhyme with the soft curve, and then maybe about like this. And then I'll probably drill holes through the wood below to anchor it below to the pot so that it doesn't show these wire. And you notice I'm very brutal. I actually put an eyeball here to tie the string. I shouldn't do that, but it's practical. And the question came up a lot about the ethics of digging up trees from the wilderness. I tend to agree, and I have to admit that in some sense, even buy them in auctions or buying from a private individual is encouraging that kind of activity which destroy the tree from the natural habitat to prevent future generations from enjoying it. But from a legal standpoint, if you take from private property, get permission from the owner, that's perfectly fine. That's property. In fact, I understand the big dinosaurs are dug from Montana for auction over $1 million. That's perfectly legal. And then the next level is that you can get permission from the Department of Agriculture, I guess, Forestry Service, to get permission to dig trees even like that from the national forests. It's allowed to use the natural resources of the national forest, such as for digging oil or for drilling oil. But you cannot take any tree out of the national park, or for that matter, any park, because that's for everybody to enjoy. So keep that in mind. Get a permit if you're digging from the national forest, and don't take anything out of the national park. But these, I believe, are from a private property. At that time, there's a fellow that was building a recreational mobile park, and he actually wanted us to go in to clean up the place so that he can park more mobile trailer homes. So first of all, looking at this tree, I think this is a good angle, but it's tilting up a little bit more toward, a little bit too much towards the front. The depth can be created by branching. So what I'll do is I would put something underneath of it to get it to about the right angle. So the tree is now a little bit more upright, and then going down, that should be fine. So let me do some, ideally I should need to start to work up from the top, but right now I'm sitting right here, and this is such a key important feature of the design. I think I would like this tree, this part to come down like this to give it more of the bottom. So that's what I'll do, is to use a little anchor wire to hold it down. This is just a drip line. so prevent it from cutting into the branch, even though I don't think it's necessary. So this branch is coming down like this. I like it to come on out this way. So I pick a branch that's growing out this direction. The direction is the location is really quite important. And then then I peel off the top to create a pad here. And the way I do the pad is to basically by poodling. That means I imagine a imaginary pad where it wants to be. So I imagine an imaginary pad there. And so I'll cut everything below that. So let it grow into that. And then I pinch off beyond that continuously until the pad is formed. So that's a very efficient way to create a pad and still encourage growth, because you need the green to keep the growth going. So you can see this has the outline of the pad, but very sparse. And I just pinch off the things that I don't need it to go growing downwards, and to fill this imaginary pad here in almost no time at all. And then I peel off the bottom branches. So that's the pad for this area. And then I keep working on all the other ones. And in keeping of what I always said is to start with the apex. So I start to working on the top, and I'll come to the front. You can see this tree is coming up this way. And so you want the top to also go that way, but with something growing back. So with that in mind then, for example, I think this is a branch at the right angle. So this will become the apex. You can see this is now the apex. This branch is coming up. Someday I'll make that the apex going up. And then this comes down, and this comes down, and these are the pads there. And it will fill out nicely, and I cut out the bottom or pinch out the bottom. So, so that becomes the apex. Now this tree, this branch is here, and so this branch should be here. So I will anchor it with a wire, and then again do the pads by poodling. You can see I use the anchor wire. This is 6. I don't need to put in the protective hose. And then I can just pull it down a bit. And I can manipulate these angles quite readily later. That's branch going down. And then this is coming out this way. So you have to do each grouping of branches, add each branch to form a different grouping until you have all the holes covered, so that the tree will look nice and full someday. After I'm done with it, it'll be pretty bare, but I think in 3 months or 6 months at most, it will fill out quite nicely. So this is a very rough outline of that the top piece from here on. Then I work on the rest of it as I go down. You can see this is coming up like this, going down, this going up, going down. So that's the apex for this part of the branch, and then I work on the rest of below. So what you want to do is peel off all the bottom, all the growth that's pointing bottom, because that's not going to contribute to your pad. And then like this one, you can see that's a nice angle, and I rather would like it to maybe go this way and lower a little bit. So again, I will find an anchor wire to get it in that direction. Again, it's very quick instead of the slow wiring, which is also good. It creates beautiful paths. This is maybe not quite as beautiful, but it's quick and efficient. I'm a bit of an efficiency expert because I ain't got time to waste, especially at my age. Once I get it into position, then I can cut it, and then later on wire it if necessary to get it to the pad that I want. So this would be a pad that's coming down this way, and I don't want the top growth or the bottom growth, so I pinch off the bottom. So all these little branches can be wired later on for fine tuning. So I'm just working my way down here. The tree wanted to grow up this way, so I let it do that. And by accentuate that curve by pinching off the redundant ones. I leave some green to give me option later on if it grows out to be nice. I can use it. So that's another pad. Now I need to work on this pad. But since I'm already standing here, I work on these first. After I'm all done, I can then get down and take a broader look at the whole thing and decide what to do next again. But in the meantime, in the sense of maybe a little bit of tugging here and there using anchor wire would make it nicely shaped. I don't want to cut too clean to the bottom because that would discourage growth, so that eventually it will be diminished relative to the other parts. So like I want to create this wedge, so I'm clipping off the top imaginary pad and then pinch off the bottom so that all the energy will go to the top and to form the pad fairly quickly. So that's the pad. And then this way wants to come out, and I think it wants to then go this way. So I clip off here. It will fill out. And then I'll do this one. I can see this is a little bit more complicated. Oh, this one comes down, that's nice. So I'll do this here and here. So in some sense, there are pads here, there, fill out the whole space nicely. So I don't have to worry about doing the right thing for sure every step of the way, because I have plenty of time to make corrections, adjustments later. So when I pinch off something, I should do a little twist so I don't break off the rest of the branch, but just a localized twist off the needles. So I can see this will be a fairly dominant, important one. You should never clip off the needles like I do now, because there will be a brown spot at the end. But this is just a part of the process. The trees will grow quite fully to cover up the brown spots when time is right, in a sense of soon enough, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. Again, just the imaginary form of the poodle led to the imaginary form of where the pet wants to be. So with that then, I will now turn this tree a bit. This branch will cover this hole. In fact, I probably should move it over a little bit, but that's a detail adjustment. I can worry about it later. And this should probably move out a bit. So what I'll do is I'll make a turn, make the tree turn. I'll make this little piece into gin because it's not, I want this thing to go out that way instead. Because the juices are flowing, very easy to peel the bark. Famous last words, you really need a gin, make the gin cutter or the gin maker, or use the plier to do it. Famous last word, I say easy to peel, not quite, but you can see it is coming off. When I started working on this tree, I was very, very leery because I hate to mess it up, and I don't really know exactly how to deal with it. But as you work on it, you begin to see the pathway, and so be bold. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Just get going. I procrastinated. I had to confess, I procrastinated quite a bit to hesitate to work on this tree because I hate to mess it up after growing for 15, 20 years, and someone dug it up a long time ago. But at the end, once you get going, it really isn't as difficult as you feared. Like lots of things in life, just get going. Like Nike says, just do it, you know? I'm trying to create paths all the way down, one step at a time, in a sense of a continuous step, so the tree will look full later on. Again, cut off the bottom and the top above, very much above the imaginary pad. You cut off too much, it's okay, because it will grow up to fill the space. Nature will kind of take care of itself. Branch actually was pointing up, so I bent it down. At the meantime, I cracked this. So I actually used the tape to save it, but it's now very rigid. So I saved it. That's what you can do with many junipers, including California juniper, is to be quite brutal about twisting the branches. You will be breaking it, part of it, but part of it will be still connected and it will grow just fine. And like you look at this branch coming out this way, and it's going this way, it's a little bit out of the range. So I cut it off and make that little part into a gin. Again, instead of going to get the tool for making gin, I'm just Mickey Mouse using my cutter to get it started and just peel it, because it's quite easy to peel during the active growing season. You can see it's doing fine. And then this branch is really nice looking coming out this way. So I would actually cut this. Less is more, truly, because when you have clutter, it blocks the beauty of the tree, the beauty of the flow of the branches. So you can see this branch is almost poetry, when it comes up like this and it comes down and someday it'll be like this, it's really nice. And this branch was broken, but it healed over time. It healed over time. And now I work on this branch, which I pulled down earlier. And I can see I probably need something to cover this side to give it a little bit of interest. So this is getting very close to the end. And you can see what I've done is to thin out a lot of the branches that does not contribute to the design, to the form of the tree. When it grows out, everything will be, all branches will be useful and not covering up the nice features of the tree. And then I will turn it around to show you the 360 angle that it should be good looking all the way around. Today, we work on this, my estimation is about 700-year-old California Juniper because it's about 7 or 8 inches in diameter. It's about 100 years per inch. And I bought this tree maybe 20, 25 years ago, and it was very sparse, just the branches up on top, and I let it grow down so to fill the bottom. Basically thin out the branches to show more the structure rather than focus on the foliage. And what I did is I used the poodling technique to form the pads so that it would continue to grow the tree and at the same time form the pads, fill out the imaginary pad very quickly. So with that in mind, then let me end this video by showing you the tree after I'm done. I think you can see it's got a lot better structure. At least the structure shows about the beauty of this tree. I think this is incredibly one of the nicest California juniper that was dug up during the days of Harry Hurawu with his students, with his friends. And this is from one of his friends that lives in Southern California at the time. And I bought it about 20, 25 years ago. This tree we did last week, you recall it was reclining, and I played with it. I didn't turn it quite straight up like this one, so it's almost informal upright, and you can see this trunk, the turn that goes there. It's really pretty incredible, 1/4 millimeter per year, and that's really a several hundred years old tree. But one thing is I done is that this branch comes down and have a back branch, and that this is really too symmetrical. This side goes down and that side comes down. It's a little bit like two arms doing like this, stretching like this. It's not very artistic. So I will actually come here, and given that's such a big branch, an old branch, I'll probably air layer this piece to see if air layer works. I think it does, actually quite readily, I was told. And so we'll have a less symmetrical tree, and also I get one little shohin Punjin style very quickly. That's a repotted bonsai. And also to accentuate the curve, I use a semi-rounded pot, oval pot instead of a rectangular pot. So that's the repotting of this bonsai. So I thank you very much for watching. I hope you liked what I did and like the design and the principle that I applied. And click like, I appreciate that. And then subscribe to our channel. And also send us your email address so that we can send you announcements of availability of the trees that's in production right now. We'll probably let you be able to pre-order in the July, September timeframe, and then ship them around Thanksgiving or Christmas time. And then from there on, we'll have ongoing trees. So no worries, you'll get your tree. So thank you very much, and see you again next week.